Hello and welcome to the channel. Today's video we are going to take a look at going in and setting up the control center on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Focus on setting up control center with the applications that are important to a visually impaired person. Dark blind, legally blind, and those of us out there that may be coming to terms with learning to overcome their age-related low vision challenges. With no further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, first of all, we do have voiceover on because my phone is set up as a legally blind person. So first thing we want to talk about is to access Control Center, how we get to that when we're on the phone. With the phone unlocked, and then you can take one finger and swipe down from the right corner or the left corner of the screen to open Control Center and notifications. Now the difference in the two is for Control Center, the phone will make a couple of tones, a bleep bleep.
Control Center, airplane mode, switch button.
That opens Control Center. With voiceover on, this is what it looks like. That's how it works. If we were to go from the top corner of the screen and go bloop bloop bloop,
Notification Center, 11:15 a.m.
It accesses Notification Center.
Control Center, airplane mode.
Now, one thing that I have noticed with voiceover on, when I open it the first time, you see the normal gray background, and the control center is easier to see for those of us that do have, some vision left. But now at this point, you can see if I use the gestures associated with voiceover, swipe from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen.
Cellular data, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirPlay audio, media controls, previous track, play, button, next track, dimmed, button.
It speaks what's on there, but it's really kind of difficult to be able to see. Now, I did discover that if I go into my accessibility shortcut here by clicking the side button 3 times,
alert, accessibility shortcuts,
and turning voiceover off,
selected, voiceover, button, voiceover off,
and then close, and then closing it, it comes back to so we can see it. But I'm going to go ahead and turn voiceover back on and see what happens.
voiceover on, airplane mode, switch button, on.
So voiceover comes back on. And at the very top of the screen here, you can see where
airplane mode, switch button, on. Actions available.
I touch that and it tells me that airplane mode is on. I turn that on so maybe we won't be interrupted. You can swipe down from the right side of the screen and from the left side of the screen. And again, with voiceover on, I'm going to turn it off by repeating the same process. Then turn it back on.
Control Center, airplane mode, switch button, on.
It does the same thing.
Alert, accessibility selected, voiceover, button, voiceover off. Voiceover on, airplane mode, switch button, on.
So maybe that's just a bug. Maybe that's the way it's going to work with the latest and greatest software. This is 16.1. I know it's 16 anyway. But here's how I have it set up, and these are all the different functions that you can get to.
Cellular data, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirPlay audio, media control, previous track, play, next track, AirPlay audio, lock rotation, screen mirroring, button, lock rotation, switch button, off.
I like to keep that off because in that way if I turn it to landscape, if it's on anything other than control center, it'll switch to landscape mode, and sometimes that's easier to see.
Screen mirroring button. Brightness 60. Adjustable. Actions of 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0.
So this is where you can
10,
adjust your brightness.
20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
I'm going to put it
70, 80, 90, 100.
And yes, the new 14 Pro Max screen is bright enough that you can see it in the daylight.
100.
I don't know if you can tell right now or not, but it's really pretty bright.
Screen mirroring button. Brightness 100, 90, 80, 70, 60.
We'll turn that back down to 60. Volume, same way.
Volume 31. Adjustable.
You can select it, then if you swipe from the bottom of the screen to the top,
41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, 100. 100.
so that is 100%, and the mic is right here. This is a Rode Wireless Go, so it's probably very loud when I touch that.
Volume 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 40.
We'll leave it at 40%. That should be loud enough.
Timer button. Actions available.
Timer's a good thing.
Flashlight. Switch button. Camera button. Notes. Voice memos. Apple TV remote. Alarm. Code scanner button. Screen recording button. Actions available.
So these are all the features that I have set up in the control center. This is how you access it. And with each one of these, you can just open that app or adjust that app from right here. Now, how do we get the appropriate settings, apps, if you like, in the control center? Well, let's back out of this and go into settings, and then we're going to scroll down until we find the control center.
Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, personal hotspot, notification, sounds haptics, focus, screen time, general, control center, button.
With control center highlighted and voiceover having spoke control center, one finger, double tap to open.
Swipe down from the top right edge to open control center.
And it tells us to swipe down from the top right hand corner to open it, but it will work if you're on the left hand side as well.
Control center, airplane mode, switch button, on. Settings. Swipe down from the top right edge to open control center. Access within apps, on.
And I do turn this on simply because, like we're in this app right now, if I wanted to access the control center, I just do the top right hand corner, left hand corner, swipe down until it goes dunk dunk twice, and then I can go dunk dunk and close it regardless of what app I'm in. If I need to turn the volume up or turn the volume down, and this is the easiest way to go about doing it, or turn voiceover on or voiceover off, you can access it by putting the accessibility shortcut in the control center. Personally, the method that I prefer, but you have options, the method that I prefer is to triple tap or triple click the side button here. Now, if this was the iPhone 8 or the 7 or the 6, the phones that still have the home button down here, you would triple tap the home button as long as you had accessibility turned on, or the accessibility shortcut turned on. And I cover that in the video about setting up an iPhone for a visually impaired person. So if you want to check that video out, it'll go through all the accessibility settings and how to set that up.
Allow access to control center within apps. When disabled, show home controls, off.
If you have the smart home, you have some of the smart home fixtures, you go in and you set up the home app, you install all of those, and then when you turn this on, it will give you that option in the control center. You can just open the control center, go into the home app, turn lights on, off, but you can make all the adjustments that you need to straight from the control center without having to run this folder down, saving you time.
Include recommended controls for home accessories and scenes. Included controls, heading, timer, actions.
Now, under this included control header is where we find all the stuff that I have moved to or put on the control center on my phone.
Reorder timer, Flashlight. Reorder flash. Camera. Reorder camera. Notes. Reorder notes. Voice memos. Reorder voice memo. Apple TV remote. Reorder Apple TV alarm. Reorder alarm. Code scanner. Reorder code scanner. Screen recording. Reorder screen record. More controls. Heading. Reorder screen recording.
Now, if you want to move that, basically,
Actions available.
you can take this with voiceover on.
Reorder screen recording. Move up. Remove. Activate. Default. Move up. Remove. Activate. Default. Remove. Move up. Activate. Default. Remove. Move up. Activate. Default.
Just simply by swiping up or down, listening to what options voiceover is giving you. When it speaks the one that you want to do, if you want to move it up, since it's at the bottom of the list, the only place it can go is up. If I go to one of the other items that's in the middle of the list,
Reorder Apple TV remote button. Draggable.
see, Apple TV is not at the bottom or the top. I can probably move it up or down.
Move down. Activate. Remove. Move up. Move down. Move up. Remove.
So I can move it up, move it down, remove whatever I would like to do.
Reorder code scanner. Screen recording. Reorder screen record. More controls. Heading.
Now, additional controls, if you wish, you can scroll down through here and listen to the different items that you have.
Insert accessibility shortcuts. Button.
If you want to insert accessibility shortcuts,
Accessibility shortcuts. Accessibility shortcuts. Insert announce notification. Accessibility shortcuts. Insert accessibility shortcuts. Button.
there's where it's telling me to insert accessibility shortcuts. I'll double tap on that.
Insert accessibility shortcut. More controls.
So now it has moved accessibility shortcuts to the bottom of the list.
Reorder accessibility shortcuts. Button. Draggable.
That's
Actions available.
in the control center.
More controls. Insert announce notifications. Announce notifications. Insert dark mode. Button.
So it's giving us the option to insert dark mode, and then it tells us what it is again.
Dark mode. Insert guided access. Guided access. Insert hearing. But hearing. Insert home. But home. Insert low power mode. Low power mode. Insert magnifier.
So you can scroll down this list and add any of these that you would like into your control center. Now, for someone with vision settings, we put the accessibility shortcut in there, and you'll set accessibility shortcut up under accessibility. And there'll be some things that you can put in there. There's another list just similar to this. You select what you want to have in that accessibility shortcut, like we click the side button. If you want to go down this list and find some of the other vision related accessibility features and have those in there by themselves.
Insert music recognition. Insert quick note. Insert sound recognition. Insert stopwatch. Insert text size. Insert wallet. Text size.
So if you want to be able to insert the text size so you can make the text smaller or larger. And this comes in handy a lot of times. Like right now, I don't have the text at the largest setting, but I have it where it's comfortable enough for me that if I wanted to, I can break out my hand magnifier and I can magnify the text so that I can read the text. If you want to have the smaller text so you get more stuff on the screen, having access to this, you can always open it, make it smaller, larger, whatever you would like to do. You may want to add that to the control center if that makes sense to you. And that's the remainder of what's on the list. So let's just go ahead and close out of this, go back to control center.
Control center, airplane mode, switch button, on.
And if I go to, what would be one to play with here?
Cellular data, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirPlay audio, media control, previous track, play. Next track, AirPlay audio, lock rotation, screen mirroring, brightness, volume, focus, timer, flashlight, camera, but flashlight, timer, focus, button.
Does anyone use focus? If you do, post in the comments section down below. If you do, you don't, you'd like to, but you don't understand how to do that.
Timer, flashlight, camera, notes, voice memos, Apple TV remote, alarm, button, code scanner, button, screen recording, but selected, accessibility shortcuts.
So let's just double tap on that to see what happens.
Selected. Voiceover. Button.
Okay, so that goes straight to accessibilities, and I voiceover.
Selected. Voiceover.
So that's what I have in the
Actions available.
accessibility shortcuts.
Selected. Voiceover.
I can turn voiceover on and off here.
Magnifier. Button.
I can turn magnifier on and off here.
Selected. Settings. Accessibility shortcut. Control center. Airplane mode. Switch button.
So basically,
Settings.
that's all there is to setting up Control Center. Add the stuff in there that makes sense to you. Then by scrolling down, or swiping down,
Control center. Airplane mode. Switch
opens
button.
Control Center.
Actions
One more,
available.
repeat that again. It goes away.
App switcher. Settings. Active.
Dragging from the bottom of the screen up, 1, 2, 3. Triple finger, 3-finger swipe up will remove it.
Batteries. Widget. 2022 14 Pro Max. 96 charged. Home. Weather. Newbird. App switcher has no items.
There you have it. A quick how to access Control Center. A little weird thing going on here with voiceover on with iOS 16. Maybe that's a bug. Maybe they'll fix that. Does that bother you? Doesn't bother me so much. I've just kind of figured out how it's working. And if I need to see it, I can triple tap the side button, turn voiceover off, and access it again.
Control center.
That doesn't
Airplane
work.
mode. Switch button. On.
I just know that with my gestures,
Cellular. Wi-Fi. Bluetooth. Airplane. Bluetooth. Wi-Fi. Cellular. Airplane mode. Switch button. On. Off. Weather. Newbird. 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny. High of 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
so for me it's not a big issue because I just realize that it comes on. And if I do the gestures, it tells me what is highlighted or what is selected, and I know that the double tap will activate it or turn it off. It'll perform the action that I needed to do. And if that bothers you, then you can always turn voiceover off.
Alert. Access selected. Voiceover. Button. Voiceover off.
And then when we do the swipe down, there you have it. More contrast and all that. Even though we don't have voiceover helping us, for those of us that can see well enough to adjust the volume up or adjust the volume down, the brightness up or down, voila. Any questions? Post them in the comment section down below. Any fun things that you'd like to share, please use the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, you got some use or benefit out of the content, give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, share, like. I'll catch you in the next video. Make it a great day. Bye.